This video is part of the Recreation Inspiration Open Playlist. It happens every month on the 8th. I'll tell you a little bit more about it after the first project, but basically we recreate something and give a shout out to the original creator. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Project number 1 is a beachy blue and sunflower pumpkin on a tag. This is pretty much the way Cindy from Monarch Mom DIY did hers. This layered pumpkin on a wood tag with that pretty beachy paint on the bottom layer and napkin or scrapbook paper on the top. There's her thumbnail, high-end budget file DIYs, and you can see the pumpkin there on the bottom. There's a close-up of it. I'm going to do wood letters on mine. She used galvanized steel, I think it's called. So I'm coming in with the blue that I'm going to paint on the pumpkin, and I'm going to do the letters in that blue. It's all about like balancing out. Like you don't want your eye to get all wonky and go all over the place. So you want to sort of balance the colors. So I do, like sometimes I create visually rather than like mentally. Like you hear people say, it looks like it did in my head, and I do that a lot. But I also just kind of look at it. Here we have the pumpkin painted with the blue on the bottom layer and Mod Podge on those 3 top layers. I lost the footage for that. I apologize. But yeah, so a lot of times I can't show you everything I use because I just don't know. Like as I'm creating, I'm like, I'll see something out of the corner of my eye on my shelf and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's good. That would look great on this. So yeah, so it's all about, and some people probably create both. I think I create both. But it does make it hard to do a YouTube video because you want to be able to show some things beforehand. But I'm coming in with my Hippo heat press here, and I'm doing this first piece, raised piece of the pumpkin. And I already know what part of the napkin I want to do on the other side. It was like a mirror image kind of. And now I'm finding just finding out how to place this part of the napkin. This is like the actual middle of the napkin, so I thought it would be good to put it in the middle of the pumpkin. And I'm just taking my time running my Hippo heat press over the middle there. Now I'm going to come in after this, and I'm not going to cut it perfectly. I'm just going to do like a loose, rough cut because I'm going to come in with a really thick, really coarse grit sandpaper after this. Now my napkin is going to lift up in a few places as I'm preparing it here. You can either add more Mod Podge or you can iron it again. I ironed it again, but I could do both. I'm coming in with the sandpaper. I'm trying to do like towards me, but it's hard because you can't really get in there. So I'm also just sort of doing it side to side as well. And of course the napkin is coming up in a few little places. And I'm just doing my best to put it back down again. And then come in with my Hippo heat press again and get it flattened. And I apologize for the barking. I have my little white puppy dog here. I call her Puppy. She's 12 years old. She's a 12-year-old puppy. Okay, so I made a bow out of it's a raffia bow, but I made it out of the hula skirt, just the child's hula skirt, and then I glued my harvest letters on with just some hot glue. Finally got my hot glue, and now I just kind of dumped some of my new fall florals and figured out how I wanted to do these little bouquets. I'd make one and then I'd try and make the second one like the mirror image of the first. And then I just wrap it with, you can do floral wire, chenille stems, twine. I think I used a wired jute. And this sunflower ribbon, I love the color of it. It's, matches with my project here. And it was one of the new ones that I just got at the Dollar Tree. So I decided to put that down on top of that raffia bow. And then I'm going to sneak the little bouquets underneath here. And then I'll give you a better look at the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It happens every month on the 8th. Our hosts are LOLI from LOLI Creations and Katie from Lady Red Crafting. This month's guest host is MARLA from the Chic Show DIY. I chose, my creator was Monarch Mom DIY. That's Cindy. And then I chose a couple of different of her fall/harvest creations, and I'll show you what hers looked like, and I'll show you the thumbnail for her video as well. So I hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax, and let's get on with the next project. Project number 2 is a little fall wagon. This is my version of a couple of Cindy's projects. There's an example of a crate with a small calendar image on it. And this is kind of what I did. There's the thumbnail for that one. It's kind of what I did, but I swear I saw it done as a wagon, and I did this one as a wagon. But I went back to do a screenshot and I could not find it. I went back 3 or 4 times and just could not find it. So this is my version of her version. This is a 2022 Farmers Market calendar, and I'm cutting out the 2 fall themed images from the back. And it turns out they fit on that little crate just perfect. I lost the footage of me painting those rings. Those are going to be the wagon wheels. So in the beginning there, I was painting Mod Podge on the crate. And now the Mod Podge is dry. So using my Hippo heat press to do an image on either side. Now you could choose to orient the wagon so that the images are sides, but it just seemed weird to me to do it that way because it's smaller. So I chose the images to be the front and back, and then the slats to be on the side. And I'm just coming in after the images are down, and I'm doing a really, really thin coat of Mod Podge. I really don't like to put too much Mod Podge on at all, especially after the image is already down. I put a tumbling tower block on the bottom, but I didn't really measure, where the wheels go. So it's a little wobbly, but if it's sitting there, it's just sitting there. But, if you touch it, it kind of wobbles. But I'm okay with that. But what I could have done is set it like that, set it up and down, and then put the wheels on to match what the tumbling tower bollock was doing. But anyways, we get those little black painted wood, I guess you call them hoops or rings. I got those at Temu. The crate, of course, is from Dollar Tree. All the florals and leaves are from Dollar Tree. I'm not sure where this dowel came in. It's a thin dowel. It was like a thing from Valentine's Day. It was like some kind of homemade floral, and they wrap it around the top of a dowel. So I'm using the dowel to make like a little handle for the wagon, to pull the wagon. And, don't be intimidated by this, because I just poked it down into the fluorofoam, and there was my wagon. And then the dowel is so light, there's no weight to it. So I just trimmed off a handle piece and put the tiniest little drop of hot glue on the end of the dowel there, and then put the little handle piece on top. I'm also going to wrap it. You see I go diagonal in one direction, bring it over the dowel, and then go diagonal in the other direction. And again, I'm going to trim it and put another tiny little drop of hot glue in there. And that's it for the handle. I can't believe it was that easy. I was like so worried that I wasn't going to figure out how to do it. Now here's all my random fall pieces. That it's like a corn husk. It looks like raffia. It came out of another arrangement. And then I'm just popping in random pumpkins, berries. Got a sunflower in there. Some little pumpkins on a piece of wire. I mean, I just got a little bit of everything in there. I put another drop of glue under the dowel and just attached it to the cart, and I'm going to give you a bunch of better looks in the final reveal. Project number 3 are some stand-up palette pumpkins. There's one version of this project done by Cindy from Monarch Mom DIY. In this one, she painted some stand-up palettes, and there's the thumbnail for it. These palettes are different. I actually had to use tumbling tower blocks on them. There's another version of a stand-up pumpkin, and there's the thumbnail for that one as well. And you can also just search the video name. So keep watching here. You'll see my version and how I switch things up to create my standing palette pumpkins. So this is a piece of scrap paper that I got from Temu, and I thought, I had this piece out and I was looking for the whole package, and I'm like, you know what, why don't I just do this? You know, it's not expected. And I like to do things that are unexpected. So I Mod Podged it the same as I Mod Podged everything in this video. Brushed on the Mod Podge, waited for it to dry. Ironed on the paper with my Hippo heat press. And now I was scoring the in between the palettes. And I was thinking I could burn it like I do with my napkins. But I guess the paper was just too thick. It just wouldn't keep going in between, and I would start it like in the back and it would just burn out like right away. So I'm just showing you this is a way that you can do it. It works especially well with napkins. If you want a nice little scorched edge like that, that's another reason to do it that way. So again, I'm coming in with that old piece of sandpaper. And I wish I could sandpaper it a different way, but I just can't the way the slats are. So I just keep rubbing and pulling off little bits of paper, and I think it gives it a nice rustic look. And of course, that's what we're always going for, right? So look, I got it pretty good here, not too bad. You can see through the slats, so I'm going to do a quick top coat of Mod Podge like I did in the other ones. And again, just a very, very little bit. I just don't like the look of a lot of Mod Podge on top. Now this is Peel and Stick wallpaper from Dollar Tree. And I've had it for a while and I'm finally using it. It's very bright, not necessarily fall-ish. But then I don't necessarily play by the books all the time. So we're going to make this look fallish. I just traced around it on the paper and cut that piece out. And then instead of gluing it on top like I did with the first one, I'm going to cut out each slat individually. So it's a bit of a different look visually. And I kind of like it. But I wanted to show you guys different ways of doing these. So I did each pumpkin a little bit different, just so you could see the different ways to do it. And these are, this paper is sticky, but I've heard people say not sticky enough, so I just went ahead and put the sticky paper down on the dried Mod Podge. And I gave it a quick hippo heat press. Not sure if I showed that or not. But then I'm going in with my sandpaper here and pulling off the little bits off the edges. And then I did the third one exactly the same. It was a sticky wallpaper, but a different pattern. It's blue and white there. You can see in the bottom left corner. And then I was taking out some of my leaves to determine how I wanted to do the top. And I noticed Cindy from Monarch Mom DIY kept hers pretty simple. I have a tendency to like overdo the part where the bow is. So I sort of like really use restraint here. I used one leaf, and then I cut off this wired jute. So I glued the leaf across so it would stay on one side, and then I just glued the stem right on top. And again, there's not much weight to it, so it's pretty easy to glue on there. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the back of the stem, and I'll actually wrap this around it, I think, or do I do that with another one? Yeah, I decided to undo it and then wrap it around the stem. And now tie the bow. I felt like it was going to stay on there better because there's a little bit of weight to that lace ribbon. I wrapped the, I don't think I pointed it out, but I wrapped the wire jute around the glue stick there to get it to be all curly-Q. And then I just wrapped it around the stem. I didn't need any glue for that. Now I'm fixing up that bow. You'll be tempted to push those tumbling tower blocks up to the brace wood there, but don't do it because it won't stand up. Make sure you put the tumbling tower blocks on the bottom there and then stand it up and press down to make sure it's in the right place. And then I'm just going to show you a few random bits here of how I did the rest of them. It might be a little bit out of order, and I apologize for that. This was actually the first one that I did. But I had all three of them on the desk at once. I think that's why I sort of lost track of what was first, second, third. But this one, let's see, we did the one leaf, but I did a green leaf underneath it because I noticed Cindy from Monarch Mom DIY didn't use a lot of fall leaves in hers, actually. She used more like green leaves. And I have some great looks of these pumpkins in the final reveal.